Hello, I am joined by Thad. Hello, Thad.
Hey, what's up?
So for any weirdos out there that don't know who you are, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Thad. Obviously, I've been in the community for about three and a half years now. Just started doing melee about 2 years ago in 2020. Um, but yeah, I'm currently in the Seventh Hampshire. I'm a corporal, which is the highest rank on the NA side. Although Gustav is our section leader. Been in a couple regiments over the years, and yeah, that's my bio.
Awesome. So, can you get into some more details of like what you're currently up to? Like, what are your day to days like in Holdfast?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm corporal in the seventh hand, so that comes with all the NCO duties. Leading lines, doing sheets, that kind of work. But then also, I've been picking up on group fighting lately. Uh, Ever since the TRR, disbanded, we've had a lot of really good people transfer. So I'm really getting us into competitive group fighting again, as well as NWL. We had a practice match against the 63E the other day. We won 4-3, so feeling pretty good about that. And yeah, just trying to organize more comp stuff for people to be a part of.
Awesome. So let's get into some history. I think the last time we had an interview, it was actually around July of last year. It was right before the HDL draft, if you remember.
Yeah, for sure. Average Joe's part two.
Yeah, so why don't we just pick it up from there? Um, so how did that whole season go for you? Because I'm pretty sure like it did not, turn out the way you had probably
Yeah,
intended.
yeah.
So
No, unfortunately not. To be very honest with you, at that point in July, I was pretty into melee, and I was pretty active. But from then on, I kind of went LOA, and I just didn't really do any melee. I kind of just did like the private line battles. At that time, I was in the 26th, so we didn't really have any competitive melee. So I wasn't going to pickups regularly or anything like that. So I was kind of out of the loop on who was a good pick and who was maybe not so good of a pick. So if you look back at my draft board, it might not have been the strongest, but I thought I had a decent team, and I think we won a game. I forget against two. I think we ended being 1-5, maybe. Um, which obviously isn't the result that I wanted to see. Coming from the previous season being champion and winning the league. But I don't know. Maybe coming up on this year, I'm going to college now, so it remains to be seen if I'm gonna continue to be in the competitive community and maybe even be playing Holdfast. So I'm playing college football as well.
okay. Um, I know that you picked Reddish as your first pick. Um,
Hmm.
so how did that pick turn out? Because I know for the first season, another Seven Foods member you picked up was Sin, and that obviously, ended up working out. So like, did Reddish like turn out the way you wanted him to?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think my first couple picks were very strong. I had Reddish, Zoft. Um, I I wanted to pick up Sin, but his activity was kind of iffy. So I think my first couple rounds were really strong and really competitive. But then after that, like I said, I hadn't been to pickups in a while, so I really didn't know who were the good mid tier players, who were the better lower tier players. So I kind of had a not so strong back half of the draft. But I mean, Reddish was awesome. He performed just as everyone expected him to. I think he dropped, I don't know, 2.5 KD throughout the season, even though his team was 1-6, and Zoff did pretty much the same thing. Um, so I think looking back at it, I definitely still would have taken Reddish first. It was a good pick. And obviously Sin the season before that was a great pick. He really held up my middle really, really well. So
Oh wow, I didn't even know you had Reddish and Zoff. Like we know now, like those are like two like top five players. I think
mhm.
Zoff was a little bit like outside the top 10, like maybe back then,
Mhm.
but now we know that he's like a top three, top five player.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. The first season it was actually pretty funny because I drafted a couple guys that were not so good then, or maybe mid tier them, but they got really, really good. Like Adam, I picked in the first season. I think it was like 24th or 25th, and Patty, I picked up at like 90 something, and he ended up
Oh
being
wow.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually gonna pull up the draft board real quick while you ask me this next question.
Okay. So you were in the 26th like throughout all of this, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, the 26th regiment, like under Spacey, like you
Oh,
were you were in
yep.
the 26th, right?
Yeah, yeah. So after I merged TKF into the 26th, I was I was infantry captain to begin with. But then as it progressed, what I really wanted was Cav captain. At the time, there was a guy named Gustav, super nice guy. He was their cavalry lieutenant, and he had worked really hard to get up to that position. So I kind of felt bad just going in and transferring as Cav captain. So I ended up being line infantry captain for a while, and the merger went pretty well. There's still a lot of NCOs and officers that came from that are still in the 26th and still active. Um, and yeah, after that, the 26 really wasn't getting anything competitive going. Me and Shane were trying to run it. We really didn't have the time, to be very honest with you. But after that, I went to the 45E for RGL, and then I'm in the 7th Hands.
So it was mainly for competitive reasons, which is
Yeah,
the reason why you left the 26th.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I hadn't competed in RGL up to that point. TKF 2 years prior, I didn't feel that I had a strong enough team. I think I went into your RGL, maybe, but I didn't compete in Stars RGL. And then obviously that was the first season, so I hadn't gotten a chance to compete up to that point, and I just really, really wanted to, and I felt like the 45E had a strong team, and that was before Shane and Power transferred as well. So, I mean, yeah, even then I felt like we had a really strong team and a good chance. But then when Power and Shane transferred, it kind of just solidified that.
So like, how do things kind of like unravel? Like, how does a conversation with Spacey go? Were you nervous at all? Like, what happened there?
I mean, I was nervous because Spacey is a good friend of mine. I would say we still talk, every now and then. But I think he was pretty disappointed, obviously. But he knows me well enough to not like slander me or anything like that. Perfect, because it was three guys at the time, but now Super Merc is gone. But it was Spacey, Perfect, and then Super Merc, and Super Merc was very, very upset, understandably. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's an online group, so I really didn't feel too bad about it. They had plenty of guys that could step up in my place as CAF captain, and they're still doing well. So
Cool. So you arrive into the 45E. So what's the first thing you notice? Like, oh wow, this is like way different.
yeah, no, it was definitely a different atmosphere. I think the 26th, um, they really only play during line battles. At least now they do. When I was there, it was a little bit more community-esque. But I mean, the 45E, there's always someone in a voice channel. And Turtle was still there at the time, so, he'd play Dungeons and Dragons with Dave and whatnot. And I mean, there was always somebody to talk to in the 45E. That on top of, in the 26th, there's like 2 events every day, the entire week, going to the 45E where there's only 3 events. It was nice to be able to kind of relax and take a bit off hold fast. I really only did Melee. During my time in the 45E, I really didn't attend too many events. But yeah, no, that was also during my senior season for football. So definitely nice to take a break and not have that responsibility. I think I was like a private second class or something like that.
So were you like automatically a starter in the RGL, or like was it sometimes you get banned, sometimes you get put on?
No, yeah. So I think the first I joined actually about a month before RGL started. I joined in September. I think RGL group stage started around November. So I definitely had a lot of time to like go to practice group fights and kind of earn my way into the starting lineup. I didn't start in the starting lineup, and even then, they usually only played halftime if I was in the lineup. Just because like Turtle did the same thing with Power, where Power transferred from what was it, the TRR 45E or 47E maybe. I think it was the TRR he was in at the time. But yeah, so when he transferred, he really only played me, Shane, and Power half the group fight, and then the other half, other people would sub in. But no, definitely a cool experience. I really enjoy hanging out with the 45E. They're a bunch of cool guys.
Uh, so the RGL was a good experience then for
Yeah,
you?
I'd say so. I'd say for sure. I finally got to participate in it. Really, all I wanted to do was have a role. I mean, winning it would be nice, but I mean, even just like being there and being on competitive melee, as I'd done for HDL, yeah, that was definitely worth it.
Awesome. So you stayed like in the 45E for like the duration of 40 of the RGL, right? Like you saw them,
Yeah,
you were in the 45E like when they won, when they celebrated everything.
yep, yeah. No, I think I transferred the day after, honestly. Just because like I didn't want to like bullshit them and like stay because Gustav is also one of my friends. He was in TKF a couple of years ago. He was in the 26th for a short time before he went to TRR. Um, so I mean, Gustav messaged me and he said, "Hey, I'm trying to get this NA side for the Seventh Hands going," and he asked me to help him out. And I mean, I was all for it because being in the 45U is definitely nice to have that break. But during the winter, I really had not a lot going on. I do competitive snowboarding, but that's twice a week, so it was nice to get back into the leading portion of things.
Now I actually have this written down. I did my fact checking, and you transferred to the Seventh Hands on January 17th,
Okay.
and you wrote down the reasoning for your transfer was you're looking for a new start. Now this would
Yeah.
be your, I think, fourth regiment, right? The TKF, 26th, 45E, and then the Seventh
Yeah.
Hands, right? So why do
Before
you?
I think it's Sixth Regiment because
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's all good. I was in 89E and then White Coats and then TKF and then the rest.
So why do you think like this is your new start, even after you've had like many, many new starts? Like what
Yeah.
makes this different?
Well, the reasoning behind that was because when I left the 89E, it was more like, okay, they died, right? So, I mean, it wasn't really my choice. They died out, and then I joined the White Coats. That was kind of like a new start, but at that point, I hadn't played the game for 6 months. And then TKF was like really a new start. The reasoning behind the new start thing is mostly because in the 45E, I wasn't leading, I wasn't really doing any of that. I was more just kind of showing up sometimes and meleeing. Whereas in the Seventh Hands, a new start would be like being the leader of a company or being the co-leader of a company with Gustav, and then leading in line battles, doing the competitive stuff. So I think that's what I meant by new start.
Okay. I am noticing that like a lot of ex-TRR members, ex like TRB members, like people from different regiments are all kind of like collecting within the Seventh Hats.
Hmm.
Why do you think that is?
I just think for people, it's a very very casual regiment. It's not like something with I don't know, maybe I don't know how the Seventh Hands are or the Seven Foos. But I know the 63 are a little competitive and they can uh, on players that just kind of want to relax and like do stuff. It's a great regiment, but I think that casual aspect of it, where people like King Monkey or people like Siege, they'll attend events sometimes, but like they're pretty much there for melee. And just competitive in general. Like I think this is gonna sound really, really I don't know stuck up of me, but I think like a lot of people recognize my name and they know me and they know Gustav and they enjoy hanging out with us maybe. But then also like the first TRR transfer was JMO, and then it was like Jerry and Clear, and I think those guys probably brought in a couple more people as well because their friends in the TRR were like, oh, I want to hang out with Jerry and JMO and Clear still. So then they came over, and then Siege, Chinny, Johnny, King Monkey, uh, Raz, Rindle, Sage, like Outcast, who Outcast uh, left to join Legio X, and then unfortunately, Corpse isn't letting him back in. So Woot came, Spitfire came, so Bill Jet, like there's a lot of people, but Jerry, and then Jerry was the first guy. I think because he's also an EB. Um, I play pubs a lot, so there's that name recognition there. So Jerry was like, "Oh, Thad, I've talked to you a couple times. You seem like a chill guy." But then JMO I know pretty well. Siege I know okay. And then after that, I mean, it's pretty much just a stream of TR. It's like Bill Jet, Spitfire, Woot, Burger Nils, Conrad, Outcast, and all the rest I mentioned before. And then actually Blazy, to be very honest with you, I don't know why Blazy transferred. I think he was kind of looking for a kind of a new start, so to speak, as well. Let's see. I can actually pull up his.
I think he listed
no,
12 AST.
12 AST. That's right, 12 AST. So he was kind of just looking for a reg to chill in, and he's actually leading in NWL with me as well. So that it's going to be me, him, and Gustav that lead the two lines.
Okay. You said something very interesting about like someone joining and then maybe their friends kind of following them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you've been around long enough to know that when stuff like that happens, some allegations will be thrown out by regiments, right? So, like, have you guys had to deal with like any drama involving?
No, not at all, really, not at all, because it wasn't like a bunch of people from an active and a thriving regiment transferred over. It was mostly just TRR guys. Since that regiment, kind of fell out, which is, I'm just going to go on off a side tangent. That's fucking crazy. I would never think I'd see the day where the TRR fell apart. Honestly, like I just thought they were just going to keep going and going and going. They've been here since 2018, 2019. I was like, some regiments are kind of too big to fail, if that makes sense. And I was just very surprised by that. But also, Fanta transferred the other day as well. Yesterday. So he'll be back in group fights as well.
Your NA side is looking pretty beefy, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Cool. So yeah, we covered why people are transferring to the 7th Hands. Oh yeah, so you have a lot of, I'd say like the leader is who Corpse, right?
Corpse and Alex co-lead. Alex is more the line guy. Corpse is more the specials guy.
Okay, so would you say that the 7th Hands are like a mainly European regiments that are trying to get an NA side going, but it's like mainly European?
I would say that was the case before the TRR disbanded. But I mean, afterwards, we've just gotten so many active guys from the TRR. We average 15 to 20 an event now. And we get, at an NWL practice on Sunday at 9:30, we got 16 people. So, I mean, and also people are doing their part in recruiting as well. We have a lot of new guys that want to recruit, and they've been doing a really good job of that. I think during the sale, we got 55 recruits, something like that. So, I mean, I did a lot of that. I probably got 30 of them, but the other 20 were, enlisted people that want to help grow the reg. So there's a lot of people that are helping grow it. And then, obviously the transfers helped a lot as well.
Okay, so would you say it's closer to a 50-50 split like nowadays?
Yeah, it's still a mainly EU regiment. Like if you look at the COs and NCOs, me and Gustav are the only two NCOs that are from NA, whereas I think there's 6 from EU. But that's just because like the company was just started 4 months ago, and before then, I think the 7th Hands was created in October. So they have like a 3 or 4 month leapfrog on us on the NA side. But I mean, yeah, things are going well. Like I said, we're taking 15 to 20 an event. At the last group fight, there were 19 people in VC, and we were just kind of subbing them in and out, in and out. Yeah, so it's going very well right now, and I'm gonna try to keep that up. Luckily, AGS is pumping out updates now, and XQC is streaming the game as well, so that definitely helps with recruitment. But yeah, I mean, it's going good.
So I guess I'm too much of a boomer to have played Frontlines. Like I don't know. I've just never played. Maybe I'd like it if I played it. I don't know. But do you think like all this Frontline stuff is helping the game?
To be honest with you, I played it like right when it came out, and I haven't played it since. So I think that having the Frontlines mode as an option, like, is a good thing. But I think if that update wouldn't have came out when it did, and there was like 2 or 3 TikToks that went viral, and XQC streamed the game, like that timing was very, very convenient for AGS. I think if that hadn't happened, I think the game would be pretty dead right now. Because it split the player base. It split the player base. But I mean, I think to have it is a good mode. I think they were smart in not like putting it in a different game. That way, people can just swap between the two pretty easily. I think that would have split people more.
Okay. But as far as recruitment goes, I'm sure the updates are helping a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, I really don't recruit on Frontlines because I would, but we don't attend any Frontlines events. So, I mean, if we attended a Frontline event or two, maybe I'd try and hop on Frontlines and recruit there, but we just haven't hit that side of it yet.
Are there any incentives on recruitment? Because I know like regiments handle like recruitment like differently.
Mhm.
Some even offer cash rewards. Like, hey, you recruit 10 guys, I'll give you like a $20 Steam gift card, right? So is
Yeah.
there any like incentives on recruitment?
Yeah, so actually, JMO and I, were just planning a recruitment drive for the next sale. So whenever the next sale comes out, we're not going to like pay each person that does 10 recruits. What we're doing is like the first place winner that recruits the most people in whatever a 2-week span gets like, I don't know, maybe $20, $30, $50 on PayPal. Second place will get like 25, and third place will get like 10. So I think that's how we're going to do a recruitment drive. It'll definitely help out both sides because, I mean, going into the summer is not usually a dead season, but getting those people active and trained up, honestly, for NWL. We're recruiting a lot for NWL right now because by the time that rolls around, they'll be pretty much trained up and we'll have a pretty solid lineup there as well. Just in case, like, you know, some of the TRR guys go inactive before then, but hopefully that's not the case.
Cool. So I guess the first real competitive thing you guys are going to be taking part in is the NWL, right?
Yes and no. We did the NA Arctic League. We got third place. We lost to the 45E in the semifinals. But we had beat the 45E earlier on in the season. So we did get third place, which was good in NA Arctic League. But other than that, yeah, NWL is going to be the first comp that we do.
I'm probably not going to be taking part because I did take part last year, and it seemed to me that NWL is pretty much like hide behind a hill simulator most
Yeah.
of the time, right? So like,
Yeah.
what do you get out of it? What's
So
the
for
first
me,
joy?
it's more of like RGL. It's more of participation than anything. I just enjoy being part of tournaments. I enjoy being competitive. But I mean, yeah, I think this year they're getting rid of pistol skirming. I think they're still having a split line. So there are some, you know, tactics that you can devise, and me and Blazy and Gustav have already started putting together like a Google Docs for that. Different stuff that we can use, different commands that we'll use, just so we're all, you know, uniform with what we say and what we do. But I mean, anything competitive is right up my alley. I've always been competitive. It's what I enjoy doing, especially if there's money on the line. Like NARD League, I'm still kind of pissed I didn't win that, but it's all good. It's just a game. No need to be mad. But I mean, yeah, competitive stuff. I just really enjoy participating in.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you in the NWL. When does that start?
Not sure. I talked to Va yesterday. I think they're gonna decide on moderators this weekend. This coming Saturday, Sunday, they're gonna have a sit down with, like, you know. Oh, I think they're meeting right now actually to decide.
Oh, okay.
To decide mods. So yeah, they're Amit, Star, and Va are in the meeting room. So there you go. Oh shit! They already chose him.
Oh.
Oh, I am not an NWL moderator.
Oh no! Did you apply?
I did.
Damn,
I think
like,
they voted
no,
no.
not that guy from Detroit.
Oh God, no! Jesus Christ, we can't have that. We cannot have that. It's too dangerous. But I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it should be a lot of fun.
Cool. I'm just hoping that RGL doesn't get pushed like through the New Year's again, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that kills a lot of momentum that teams have.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, um, HDO season one, like when we got back from break after the New Year's, like it
Yeah,
seemed that people didn't even want to play again, right?
yeah, definitely very difficult getting people to show up.
Yeah. As an owner, you know all about that. Um, and then I'm sure like with the RGL you guys just won at the 45E,
Hmm.
like I'm guessing like motivation or morale was sort of low after everyone's coming back from breaks, right?
I mean, honestly, I think with the 45E was the opposite because Adam does a really good job of keeping everyone engaged. You know, they have 2 melee trainings a week. Um, they're just a competitive regiment. Like that's what they're built for, in my opinion. But I think this year with RGL, they're starting it after the break. I think they're starting it in mid-January, which will be beneficial to everybody to not have to go through that again.
That's
Because I
interesting.
mean, the same thing happened with TKF at your first RGL. Was like, um, or that was during the summer, but everybody just got burned out super quick. Um, so obviously you couldn't continue the tournament if you don't have enough people. But yeah, I think definitely starting RGL after the break in January is definitely a good move, and that also gives plenty of time for HDL to finish up, and there won't be any overlap. So
Now RGL is if it does take place like in the winter, that's like 6 months away. So I guess there's no real way of telling like what the seventh hand's roster will look like because anything could happen,
yeah,
right?
no, for sure not. I mean the same goes for all regiments. So that's ties into the recruiting aspect, making sure that people stay active. I'm keeping people entertained with I try to do one comp match a week, whether it's NWL practice, a group fight, maybe like a friendly arty match. But I try to keep people um, in the loop as possible in terms of competitive stuff. For sure.
Cool. I think we're near the end. Do you want to talk about your like? Do you still like talk to VG at all? Like, I know you guys went. I don't know if I want to call it drama, but I know you guys like very close, and you kind of like drifted apart. So how's your relationship with VG been ever since that whole TKF thing happened?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's fine. Like we don't hate each other or anything, but I just don't talk to him a lot. I think the last message I sent him was like I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. But yeah, I mean, we just don't talk. Um, we don't have any problems with each other. There's no like beef there. But I mean, yeah, same goes with Kaiser. Because he was also in the council. We called it. I mean, every time I see him in a line battle, I say hi, what's up, and he says the same. So there's no bad blood or anything like that. We're just not as close as we used to be.
And the same with like Spacey, like all the 26 guys, the 45E
Yeah.
guys, like no bad blood.
No, not at all. I think we all kind of understand like this is at the end of the day, like the relationships we make are nice, but it's an online game. People can go where they want. People can go and be a part of different communities. They can experience that for themselves. I'd say the only person I probably have bad blood with is probably Supermerc, because I mean he was very pissed when I left the 26th. He was very pissed, but now he got kicked out of the 26th. Uh, so I mean, there's not really any substance there.
um, I do have to ask you, like, if when the seventh hands are in a group fight, who's the IGL? Who's the driving voice?
It's usually me or Gustav. Um, at the last group fight against the TRRB, it was sometimes Blazy. Um, we kind of have like an open voice where if you need to call out something, do it. But otherwise, everybody's quiet. Um, during the group fight, I'd say our weaknesses are open melee. Um, we tend to do really well at the beginning stages of the group fight. We get picks, we can block, whatever, and then we just tend to lose out in open melee. And that was also due in part because it's verb. Section's also really good in open melee. So, but I mean, yeah, I wasn't there for the seventh hand seven foos group fight. but I heard the same thing from Gustav. We
I
just
was
had
there for it.
yeah, we just had trouble regrouping, trouble in open melee. So definitely training that. We have trainings once a week for melee, and then I try to do that on weekends so people can make it. But yeah, I mean, this next group fight against the 45E is definitely going to be one to watch because it's on Sunday at 9:30, and then I mean, if the 45E has all their guys there, and the I forgot who did they fight last? They lost, I think. 63.
Oh yeah, 63 wiped them.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look, they really didn't have all their guys there. So I mean, I'm not saying it would have changed the outcome a whole lot, but based on that, I can't really make any assumptions because a lot of people weren't there. So yeah, I think the 45E is definitely a super strong team still. Even if they don't have Turtle IGLing, they still have Adam, who's a very good IGL. Ryan has gotten a lot better in the past few months. Ryan has gotten a lot better at group fighting. Henry's pretty good. Chug and Wraith, I'm not sure. I think Wraith will show up. I think Chug's pretty inactive now. But I mean, yeah, they got a lot of depth as well. So definitely won't underestimate them or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't want to count out the defending champions.
No,
right?
no, for sure not. And obviously, like Power is, you got to always keep an eye out for him, of course. Yeah.
Cool. So I think we are at the end. Do you want to give any shout outs to anyone in the regiment or the community?
I mean, not anyone in particular. I just really enjoy, being here. Like I said before, I'm playing college football, so I don't know how much longer I'll be here, but I'm just enjoying it while it lasts.
Awesome. This has been the Thad interview. Thank you, Thad.
Thank you.